What up, everybody? It's the WTFMA. That's What's the Formula Mentoring Academy. It's your guy, Coach Dimitri, and yours truly, the one and only Coach E, Mr. WTF. We're here for another special podcast for the new fiscal year 2024.
Yes.
Speaking of fiscal, before you jump in, Mr. WT, I want to say before you say fiscal, we got the Money Man. I'm not in. Money Man is one of my favorite rappers, but I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Mr. Trayvon Jones of
Yes.
Truth Synergies. All right, y'all. So, you have a lot more detail. He's a
Man.
deployment, 14-year, long-standing Marine, and not no ex-Marine. Once Marine,
Right.
always a Marine. So he's true to the heart, solid brother that Coach E definitely has more details about. Go ahead and drop it on him.
Hey, you know what? This man needs no introduction, you all. Like, if you are in the East St. Louis, Washington Park area, you definitely know my guy because he's making major, I'm talking about some of the projects that he has going, and he has a couple partnered with the WTF too. But we got so much going on in East St. Louis, Washington Park. But my man is global. Like this, I don't want to even make him sound like he's local to Washington Park, East St. My man's been traveled the world as a Marine, and his passion to help people is just undeniable. When he and I first met, matter of fact, I'm gonna save that story. We're gonna bring him up because I want everyone to know who we talking about. My guy, Trayvon. Trey, what's good?
What's up, my brother?
Hey, man, I appreciate both of those Steve Harvey introductions, y'all. Y'all make it hard to be humble around here.
Hey, man, we want you to be bold.
Man, I'm with it. I receive it.
Yes, but no, my guy, we appreciate you being on the podcast. You all make sure everyone out there that's watching this or listening to it, share it with your friends, put it on your page. We dropping some gems. My man has been making major changes for multiple years. Like I'm his mentee. I'm his understudy. I'm looking up to him
all that. And learning from both ways, brother. I appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate you too, bro. And here's the thing, like you all know that you go as far as you know, and your network will take you as far as you're gonna go. So if you don't have a network, then what you doing? I mean, the phones, the social media, everybody has a network. But when you ask yourself what's in your network, then you can determine where you're going on the next step. And that's one thing I can say about my guy, Trayvon. So I got to tell this story about how we met. So to make a long story long, we met through my guy, Jerome. Shout out to the OG,
Shout out to the big
Jerome
homie.
up in the shot. Man, appreciate you, bro, for introducing me to the brother. And it was so weird, Dimitri, man, because when we made the connection and we were texting, we jumped on a call. And he flat out, he came so bold. I was like, man, I love this brother already.
He matched your energy, bro, because that's already how you jump up. Yeah.
Right. And he said, bro, I get it. We all doing great things and everything is shiny and golden and we get in the room and we all happy and then we never talk again. He said, if that's what you want to do, then we going to end this right now. And guess what? Ever since he said that, I'm in his office every week. Multiple times a week. We're going to a men's group at the church, meeting so many people. Like when he said that to me, I said, "Oh, challenge accepted. What's up? Let's do this." And hey, since then we got so many projects on the table right now, you all. But my man is definitely blessed the WTF with a lot of his knowledge and his network and just his overall energy and spirit, because we know everything in the world is created from energy. And when you have that great energy about you and it connects with somebody else, oh, it's a no-brainer. Some might even be able to disguise it and mask it for a little while, but eventually, as they used to tell me, if it don't come out in the wash, it'll come out in the rinse. So we gonna figure out whether or not you really own what you own. And one thing I can stamp, I can give this man the stamp. If he tell me something, it's golden. I'm not even gonna question. I'm like, bro, let's ride. Where we going? And that's just knowing this man for a few months. That's how close we've gotten. I mean, our wives have eaten dinner together. Like man, children been around. It's amazing, bro. So I wanted to let everyone know that this is a personal thing for me, getting my guy on this podcast, because we'll need about 4 or 5 podcasts to even scratch the surface of what my guy is doing and what he's already done and what he plans to do. But appreciate you again, Trey, man. Like the people definitely need to know more about True Synergies. And I want to touch on what you had said earlier when you talk about you don't market, you target. So man, that was such a profound statement.
Yeah,
I ain't got past it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Y'all said a lot of beautiful stuff, man. Y'all gave me the chicken skin over here, man. But yeah, that part about targeting, you know, in certain markets, you know, having a certain influence is fine and well, and is beneficial. But what we find in the social service network in that arena, really, having, extenuous, websites and marketing materials and those things, if you're targeting that towards specific donors, then that's well and good. But otherwise, really, it's kind of a waste and generally ineffective. And if we're being 100% honest, there's been competition historically amongst nonprofits that do service delivery work.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, man, drawing attention to yourself, and not the work. A lot, it just doesn't seem beneficial to us. So we know. I like to say I get to be me on purpose and in purpose. That's a blessing. So yeah, for me, it's more about having a direct plan to work with a specific donor or a specific funder or another specific partner, versus just having, putting a lot of time, effort, energy into, social media networking, as far as the business is concerned, and, all of those things that are kind of indirect and passive. They're indirect and passive, so I prefer to be very intentional and direct about what I do, and I find it to be just more impactful. So yeah, marketing, down the road, yeah, we'll get to that. There's plans for those things, but we're still in the growth phase, and it's not a tremendous need for marketing. Yeah, there's other ways to tell our story, i.e. we're here today, right? But the putting a lot of money and effort into print material, websites and social media and things is just something we haven't gotten around to yet, and we just don't have a high. We don't foresee a high return on investment, so we put it kind of so we put it kind of low on our list of priorities, and we'll get to it. Because it's a responsible thing to do. At one point, but
you want to hear something funny, bro?
Yeah,
you made me think about a guy that we both look up to and we follow, and that's Myron Golden. Mm-hmm. And here's what Myron Golden told me and Dimitri done met Myron before. We've been in that room, and he said that if your product is good as you say it is, there's no need for marketing, because you don't see commercials with Lamborghinis. You don't see commercials with Louis Vuitton, and they don't have to. They don't have to run ads and market, because their product speaks for itself. So I love what you just said, that it's about the action. It's about what you're doing more so than who I am. Because a lot of us know them people on social media is like, look at me, but are not impacting lives on the level that they portray online. Yeah, so I love that idea and that mindset, man, when it comes to targeting folks more so than just marketing.
And I love the correlation that you made there, Ernest, because we do. We look at our program design, our program implementation, our training, development. We look at those things as really cream of the crop in our industry, like a Louis Vuitton, and so we act as if, you know what I mean. So
right,
and we have good reason for that. We've seen evidence, or we've seen our Jesus, I can't think today. Our results with the participants that we've worked with and with the entrepreneurs that we've worked with, it kind of dictated that yes, our training is and things are that high in quality. So yeah, we move as such with it, you know. So yeah, I love the correlation that you made.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And like I said in the pre-interview, I'm just interested just to hear more about, not necessarily right now, but I'm gonna kind of get into that. But I'm just curious about how you even got into flipping the business model of like the traditional for-profit where people are marketing. Like, what really made you wanna, take the not-for-profit route, and what did you find any resistance? But before you answer that, man, like kind of the overarching company of True Synergies. I've heard Ernest talk about you being like a stand-up guy. What you say you're gonna do, you follow through with it. That truth part, you say that you like to be direct, and just the synergies between you and Ernest. And I know me and Ernest are solid on.
Wait a minute,
level.
So don't keep calling my government name.
Hey, Ernest. Hey, Ernest.
Keep on calling my government name.
Hey, man, everybody needs to know
Mr. Handbrake.
this organization. But man, but I'm just curious, like just the name, and I'm big on names. So the name of your company seems to reflect who you are as a person, and just from me knowing you just these few minutes, True Synergies. How did you even get to that name and even take it into the not-for-profit space?
Man, that is so interesting because nobody has ever asked me that. So and it's a lot to it. That is deep that you asked me that.
Yeah. So eat, brother, cook.
Woo-wee. So yeah, man. So I would start with I think the intent was to really kind of reflect who I am and what I would love to see my community to be. So it was a correlation there, but with I would say my experience with nonprofit, or not even with nonprofit work, my experience and my professional experience in general really led me to want to build something very, very different. I think one of the kind of calling cards of my personality is I'm a person who really gravitates to bad examples, right? I will learn from that bad example because we're not going to do that. We're not going to be you, right? So I've seen toxic charities, and I've seen small businesses who I didn't really like how they moved, and I saw entrepreneurs who I didn't really respect how they moved, and I wanted to ensure that I built something that was very different than that. The synergies part, a lot of what I would see in the military, I think is a really good example of this. There would be times when people could get on the same page, and the sum of their parts the sum would end up being greater than the parts, and that synergy piece I thought is key. And what I started to understand, if you could put the exact right pieces together in the exact right sequence with the exact right situation, in the exact right scenarios, if you have everything exactly right, that 2 + 2 is not 4, it is 74 now. And why would we not recreate as many of those situations as we possibly could? And I wanted to kind of create something that was a process, a system of creating those types of synergies. And that's kind of a lot of the pieces to the puzzle came from. And honestly, at the time when this became kind of a first time on paper thing, because I created this company in my head many years ago, and with input from all of the people that I've had the blessing to come in contact with. But the first time this was really coming on paper was right around the time the first season of Power came out. And I really related to the character of Ghost and what he was going through and what he was trying to do with Truth, the club in the show. And it was something about it that stuck out to me and really resonated with me. So yeah, all of those things together, that's kind of where the name came from.
That's dope.
Hey, man, that's fire. Shout out to 50 Cent for them Power series, one of the greatest series ever.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, I don't even watch TV, you all, but I gotta watch it. and it's a brother that's putting it together, and he's bold, and he's loud and crazy. And I love 50. So I didn't even connect the truth to the club, to the business.
That's deep. That's why
that's
I
dope,
asked
though.
In real life, there's so many layers to it. We can spend the rest of the day talking about it, but those were like the big layers for me.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So speaking on this not-for-profit business, so we got the name and we understand, but what is your overall mission and goal with your not-for-profit? Because as most people, his headquarters is in East St. Louis, Washington Park area. Same thing, right across the bridge. Everybody know about East St. Shout out to East St. and Washington Park out there, and everybody that's looking. Hey, my man is doing things, but
don't forget Cahokia Heights. We gotta get them some love too.
Cahokia,
live your old school.
Yeah, all the surrounding areas. Y'all know who you are. Hey, and I love it, man. Whole St. Clair County in Southern Illinois is like, my man is making some major shifts and movements in a place where most people don't. And the people that do are normally grant chasers. And they're just trying to, get a dollar. And we just got to be 100 because that's what we do here at the WTF. A lot of them can build these businesses and acquire grants, and they don't bring about the change that the grant hope that it will fund. But they know how to play the paper game, and they know how to get the paper up. And there's nothing wrong with getting your finances together. You know I'm a capitalist when it comes to that, even as a not-for-profit. But there's a certain thing when the money becomes bigger than your purpose, or the money becomes your purpose, that it changes the entire dynamics of your program. So I know at True Synergies, that's not what's going on, but you had touched on your upbringing with getting into the service. And I mean, you've been in it since, you were young, when you were, a Marine, when you became a Marine. I don't want to make it like there's a cutoff. Right. But when you became a Marine and served the country, and now you're serving an area that most people don't even want to drive through. I drove Dimitri through East St. I didn't even give him your tour, Trey, but I gave him a small tour. My man said, this don't look right. Like this some third world country stuff, but what makes East St. and that whole area like your soft spot for helping people, if I said that right?
I get it. I think I would say this: if East St. Louis had not been home, had I ever come through East St. Louis, I would still work there today. And because East St. Louis is such a unique place. I think I was very blessed we'd be here the rest of the week if I had to list all the reasons why I'm blessed to be from that place. But being from that place and then being able to travel the world, I've always traveled the world through the lens of let me find something that looks like this or that reminds me of this. And there's just really no place quite like it. There's a couple places that are very, very similar. I like to say there's places that's kin to us. West side, south side, Chicago, they kin to us. Oakland, y'all kin to us. Atlanta, they kin to us. Detroit, y'all kin to us. And there's some places overseas that's kin to us. Okinawa, Japan is kin to us, right? But other stories, right? But there was no place quite like East St. Louis. One thing my dad and I were talking about this morning that you can't really, replace about East St. Louis is East St. Louis creates the most hyper-competitive situations in every situation, in everyday life. And when you grow up under, in those environments, just super hyper-competitive environments, it just kind of makes you a different type of person. And you see the world very, very differently. And when you're able to kind of remove yourself from that and understand and really come to grips with understand the rest of the world is not that way. When you make that full circle, a place like East St. Louis is always going to have your heart. And really the types of programs that we wanted to design at Truth were specifically designed for people in transition. And that transition can be anything. That's transitioning from high school to the workforce, from high school to college, from college to the workforce, from college to grad school, from the military to civilian life, from civilian life to the military, right? We wanted to create programs that were specifically tailored to help people move from one space to the next. And then really and truly, you know, if you're going to create those types of programs, a lot of times you're going to get funding from places that are violence prevention centric. And if you're going to do violence prevention work and be effective, if you could do it and be effective in East St. Louis, then it can be effective anywhere. So that was the premise. So in real life, I feel like East St. Louis is the very best place in the whole world to do the work that I do. So yeah, I would not want to be anywhere else.
That's so fire to meet you, man. Like getting teary-eyed.
Yeah, man. So like, if someone was to, like, one of your avatars that me and E call it, one of your potential people that you can help, like if someone needed your services or needed to take advantage of something that you offer, how would they be able to do that? What's the process of people getting your assistance?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. So primarily, we dealt with kind of word of mouth, and so we used to have a recruiter. For the first year that we were funded. We got funding through a state funder in 2021, ICEJA, to run our personal and professional development programs. And so the first time we got funded, we put a recruiter on staff, and we knew the people, but we thought that was general practice and a effective means of going about recruiting people. And we did that, and it worked for 15 people for our trial run. But what we found during our trial run was that a byproduct of the training that we had given these people was that we created really, really strong community. And that community had a really, really strong sense of ownership over the skill set that they had been given there. And they wanted to control who all had that skill set to the point where we kind of accepted that, and we changed our staffing plan. So we no longer have recruiters on our staff. And what we do now at least with that program currently, is we do kind of peer recommendations. So who's going to be in our next class is always recommended from the people in the current class. They bring them to class, have people kind of experience that. But to make to give you kind of a more quantitative answer, we have an intake, and I would like to talk about the intake process just a little bit for people who are social service providers or service delivery providers. I'm very blessed to have on my staff, Shot the Troop staff, for real. Felicia Jones, Will Newsom, Rachel Blockton, Joseph Williams, Kerry Lewis V. Shout out to all of those folk. But very, very blessed to work with Will Newsom. He and I worked together for quite a while. The dude's a big deal in reentry. Humble guy, he won't tell you that, but he's a really big deal in reentry. But one thing I learned when he and I worked together at Connections to Success, shout to them folk out there, St. Charles, Missouri, Connections to Success. But one thing I learned about him was he had a very tremendous understanding of all different types of intakes and assessments. And there was so many intakes and assessments, especially reentry specific intakes and assessments, and the information that you can get and what you can do with the information from some of those intakes blew my mind. And the way that he knew how to, do those things completely blew my mind. So when it was time to, to create that intake process, that was real. And our intake, it has been a tremendous blessing to us. One of the things that came out of that was we're able to collect enough data to get all types of criminology, if that's something that we're looking for, needs assessments and all types of things, all types of data and useful applications to that data that we can pull just from our intake. But it was also one of the reasons why our funder chose to have us evaluated for evidence-based practice. So for the last 6 months or so, we've been working with Southern Illinois University to evaluate our program for evidence-based practices. recently been notified that the funder has paid to do a second round, a deeper evaluation. It's going to be a national publication. So again, we talk about targeting, right? So we're working with particular partners now who we intend on working with in the future as we become evidence-based. In the next phase of our growth would be licensing, right? So we're planting those seeds for licensing with all of the partners that we're working with right now.
That's next level. Licensing is a big deal, man. We and E, we were talking about, we were just talking
about it,
licensing long before we even had a concept of how it even worked. But we just was thinking like that, like how can we work once and get paid, and that's what we always do, along with collaborating over competing. And I heard you say that in East St. Louis is very competitive or something to that nature. And it's interesting that E came from that place too, but he has the mindset of working with people, having that synergy, finding that synergy with others, so where we can all collaborate and where 2 + 2 does not equal 4, like you say, but it causes the exponential growth, that hockey stick moment. And that's what we all are looking for. But we all as in society, we all tend to think, how can I get it myself? But we don't understand our limitations at times, and we have to collaborate to be able to get to our end goal. But that's a whole different topic. But I'm just glad to hear that you are that type of guy that is looking to combine your skill sets with others and not always try to compete with everything, even though y'all came from an upbringing or a community that thought like that.
So I think I'm glad that you brought that up, man. And you're very intuitive and insightful in ways that people aren't usually. But that's an important thing, because I think that you have to kind of start off. I would say in order to be a great collaborator, you have to start off as a great competitor, right? But and I think great competitors all have an aha moment at one point, right? I remember my aha moment. It changed my life. I remember this was summer of 2005. I was on my way to my second deployment to Iraq, and you guys might remember that summer there was talk of troop surge and all that. That was us, right? So I'm on a ship in the South Pacific, or in the middle of the ocean, I think, South Pacific, headed towards headed towards Iraq, and we were coming through the Straits of the Philippines, and I would never forget this moment. I'm on a USS Bonner Machar. This is a aircraft carrier. It's 4,500 of us on this boat. There's hundreds of aircraft, hundreds of vehicles. This is a huge piece of American sovereignty in the water. Yet, for as far as the eye can see, the water was like a mirror, just steel glass somehow. And everywhere you could see this water was littered with like SUV sized islands, and there was dolphins gently porpoising in and out of the water. There were flying fish. I don't know if you've ever seen schools of flying fish, but it looked like 50-cent pieces jumping in and out of the water, and the sun was setting, and like AI couldn't paint a more, beautiful situation. And I remember, and I specifically remember, it was the first time in years, but I shed a tear. And that was like, what overwhelmed me in that moment was like survivor's remorse. And what I understood was like, if I could just get the whole city here right now with me, right, if we could all just see this right now, like, we'd be so much better. And from then on, what I understood was I need to take what I've seen and what I know and help other people, and pull other people out, and also, but I also have to have people that are doing the same for me. So I understood it was levels to this. So if I could find somebody who was willing to do this for me, I also needed to be reaching down, So I just kind of took that same mentality, and I think it's something that God loves about that attitude. So you get blessed as you go.
That's it. Oh, that's beautiful, man. And the way you described that, I was just picturing that, man. Like you and E are like great storytellers. Like he paints pictures well too, man. I was looking at the dolphins, and that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. I almost shed a tear.
Hey, Dimitri, did it make you think about one of our projects though?
Yes, bro.
That cruise.
Yes.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying, man.
Kids with their parents from the worst. I don't want to say the worst. From troubled areas who haven't seen much of the world, and put them on a cruise just to change their lens.
The same thing you
were
saying.
That's what happened to a man that had already traveled the world by then and had been in multiple places, but still you have those moments where I don't care how tough you are or what you're going through, a moment will stop you in your tracks, and you'll think, okay, it's greater than what I even thought. Look at how amazing this is. And for us getting that help, man, this is what I know. I make fun and I crack jokes all the time, but I tell people, man, Jesus had a squad. What you think you gonna do by yourself if he had a squad? So I always tell people, I'm a one-man show. You know, I don't need it. I can go at the world alone. Ask Michael Jordan how many times he got swept. Ask all the great ones who truly became great. They had to have a great team around them, you all. They couldn't do it. They can only do so much alone. Mike can score 50 by himself and take that L across the dome. And he realized, I need to bring these other people along with me, and also listen to the Bill Russells, listen to the legends of the game that could really help bring you up. So, you know, me, I love things connect in my brain, man, kind of weirdly, but when I hear things, it just jumps out at me, because we have always said we believe in collaboration over competition, but I like the way you put the twist to it, that you have to be willing to compete to even be different than where you are today. So we ain't talking to the ones that are good with where they're at. That's cool. Be good with where you're at. But if you want to do something different, you have to have a competitive mindset to even take the initiative to go out there, and then you start to collaborate as you build that network. So I think that's beautiful what you said, bro. And I know that goes to your military background too, because you guys, I mean, you told me some stories about them units. If you're not together, you dead.
Yeah, I would say that the military definitely reinforced that. But man, growing up in Edgemount and on Deuce 9, really, man, that's where that comes from, bro. like I said, man, everyday life in East St. Louis was just a hyper competitive situation. Whether, I mean, like a hide and go seek game was super competitive. This is funny. It's funny. My dad and I were talking earlier today, and he was showing me one of his friends growing up had written a book, and what he remembered about this guy was that he was not a great athlete in the neighborhood growing up, and people treated him very poorly in the neighborhood growing up. He moved to California, became a big time star, you know, scored 1 million points, and he's very successful. But what I explained to my dad was, I know that to be the case also. Like, we still do that in East St. Louis. I saw that in my generation also. And I was one of those people who was kind of not over the top mean to you if you didn't have a great hoop game or a good football game. But like the rest of the city was, it was like we just didn't respect you a whole lot if you weren't great at what it was that you did. And you know, I that's where I think a lot of that stems from.
City of Champions is what it's named. City of Champions, East St. Louis.
Tough place, bro.
That's dope. Yeah, so awesome. Yeah, man. So Trayvon, so yeah, we, as you know, at the WTF, we target more so the parents and really try to influence the next generation by educating the parents. And Coach E has a phenomenal book that everybody can check out on WTFMA.com. It's a free download. But I'd like to ask you the question, my brother, like if you could, I guess, create like a program, because I heard that you create programs for, you know, to help different types of people. If you were to create a program for, I guess, underprivileged, you know, parents of kids who may be in some disciplinary trouble or anything like that, if you could create a program with your grant skills and everything like that, how would that, not a detailed thing, but how would that structure look as far as, you know, your approach to helping out the parents? Because the kids are only going to listen to people who they don't know so much because they barely listen to their parents. So we want to get to the parents, and the parents right now are listening, right? So we want to at least give the parents some idea of what the possibilities might be to, you know, help to, you know, influence their kids in a positive way through them. So how would you help the parents help their kids? Yeah, how would you help the parents help their kids?
Oh man, that's a fantastic question. You got my brain like about to come out my ears. My first thought, I think we have to go, and I would go to the core of what we do at Truth and what makes us different. If we're being honest, here in America, what really hinders us as much as anything else is trauma, right? And nobody's touching the trauma for us. So we walk around with our trauma response right here in our face and trying to live life kind of through that lens, and it just doesn't work as well. So we like to say, you know, we do personal and professional development, heavy on the personal development side. I think really the first thing I would do is attempt to create activities that would touch at least that trauma, and if there's and I would want to be able to identify this with the intake process, but if there's trauma between the parent and the child, right? So I would want to significantly impact that, because it doesn't matter what the rest of your curriculum is if you don't impact that. It's just the stuff that y'all said, want, because my trauma response was here, and I couldn't. You see what I mean? So you can't really have to me, you know, it's very hard to have a sustainable impact on people with trauma unless you touch the trauma. So the first thing I would really want to do is create activities that really incorporate, you know, some personal development, right, and some coping skills and ways of dealing with that trauma and opening up those conversations.
Man, I didn't even think about that. Oh, like that's
why they walk around their face balled up, man.
That's
that trauma like that. Yeah, I just connected that.
Nah, that's
some of them just ugly. We ain't talking about them. Some people just ugly. For the most part, people, everybody's beautiful. I love all y'all. Y'all know I'm joking, but especially with men, is that a lot of men just wear that where it's like hard. I was telling a brother this at the men's group the other day that, you know, brothers nowadays don't even give you the common head.
Right.
And they see you like, damn, bro, like you ain't even, that's universal. That's wherever we at. If I look you in your eyes, I expect the head nod, man. Don't just walk past me. But as he stated, I'm looking at it from my lens, but from their lens, man, they could have just had somebody die in their family. They could have just got fired, and we're judging on the surface. But even with that surface, I'm not gonna let, you know, my balled up face folks off the hook, because as I always say, you can change your blood chemistry just by smiling. So you need to smile even when it hurts. Smile more and more, because your body and everything's so dynamic that if you bring that energy up, everything will change. I mean, people have been locked up overseas and POW camps and all that. And they use that imagination to imagine themselves free. And those that really honed in on that, they have books about this, that they saw themselves. One guy said he saw himself playing golf on a resort. And then he finally came home and they said, what do you want to do? He said, I want to go play some golf. I've been playing it for 30 years. Or I know I'm butchering up the story, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, there's so many stories out there of getting beyond your trauma and doing great things. So keep y'all heads up, smile more. I hope you're smiling right now at my goofy self for saying that. But seriously, we need to really smile more and bring about that energy, because even our children see us with our face balled up. It's like me when I know I'm going long, but it's like me when I was young.
I'm gonna jump in here with you, because you brought up some good stuff, man. And we can talk about it.
When I was young, I saw my mom working to death. Like, she was literally working herself to death, because while we lived in the project, she didn't want welfare or food stamps. She was like, nope, I'm going to work 2 jobs, ain't getting paid nothing. But she didn't want us to be on, it was a pride thing of welfare and the food stamps. Of me being the oldest, I'm looking at my mama being the hard worker that she is, thinking, I don't ever want to be a hard worker. If this what I get, we still in the projects, right, and you working this hard, why would I want to do that? So bringing it, fast forward to today, these young people see us face balled up, things rough, and they're like, and you went to college to get that? I don't want that. So there's definitely a disconnect with the generations, but that just triggered in my brain, man. So jump on in, bro.
Oh man, no, you brought up a lot of great stuff, man. And you know, one of the things I wanted to touch on a little bit, because people don't really know, like, what is that? You talk about how do we, you know, deal with the trauma and this, that, and the third. Well, it was something as simple as what you said about, you know, my man visualizing himself playing golf. So one of the first things that's going to happen to you when you come to a session at Truth is that you're going to walk through a visualization exercise. You're going to walk through breathing techniques. You're going to experience aromatherapy. You're going to experience LED therapy. You're going to experience all those things kind of at one time at times, right? So just to keep things fresh. So all of those things, there's a, I would say there's a marginal gain kind of in all of those things. And if you can kind of stack those things, right, you can really kind of touch a person's trauma and allow them to begin to heal kind of on their own, give them that personal development power tool that they can use, you know, in the car. You know, or you can step in the bathroom when your coworker just went off on you and they were wrong. Instead of you know, putting your hands on it or whatever the situation may be, you can step in the bathroom for 2 minutes and do a self-check-in. You know, there's a lot of little things that can be done, you know, very easily and very quickly at times. Because I know, you know, people build programs and things, you know, concerned about time, right? I was telling sports coaches, you know, this for years. You know, that's part of who I am. Also, I'm from a long line of coaches, and I've been coaching football for almost 20 years now, or over 20 years now, really, since I was 17. I'll be 42 here, 43 this year, right? So, but one of the things I've been saying for about 5 years now is these high school programs need to build life skills into the program. So what's happening now with college athletes or college-bound athletes is these kids are spending 4, 5, 6 hours a day with the program. You know, especially if you D1 bound. You know, you got weightlifting, you got film, all of those other things that go into that. You're not spending that amount of time with your parents. You know, so, you know, by the time you get to high school and you're one of those kids, you know, your parent doesn't necessarily even get too much opportunity to parent you. You know, they're seeing those kids, and I fathered one of these kids as a coach. I fathered one of these kids, college-bound athlete. And you know, you get to eat breakfast with that kid and drop them off at school if you're the kind of family that eat breakfast together. And you might get a chance to eat dinner with this kid, right? So from a parent perspective, we got about an hour together. From a coach perspective, you got 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with this kid. Spend 10 minutes on life skills, buddy. You know what I mean? You'll have a great return on investment. Right? So
don't take much.
But I will guarantee you see it more this coming year. Now you can mark my words. JJ McCarthy got on TV and meditated and won a national championship. So you'll see people doing it more this year. Just saying.
Hey, man, I love it. Hey, you talking about all those little tools that we need in our chest, you all, with that trauma. Oh man, that's so dope. And we do similar things here at the WTF with the youngsters. Like, we want to know what the pain, because everybody listening to me, hear me when I say this. I don't care what pain you've been through, you can get beyond it. We are that resilient. You don't have to remain stuck in that. You don't have to keep going back to that. You can move forward, but it takes coaches and programs and different things to really get you right. So shout out to all the coaches out there that's coaching these athletes. Absolutely. We know we got this NIL going on, man. These kids are becoming millionaires while they're in high school and they don't have any financial literacy. You know, and they you know, it's that we're we're doing them such a disservice. Even though they're coming into the best time of life where they can get that bag. No longer are they exploited for their talents while they're in high school and college. And you got to earn your way to the pros, where we know 80% of them will never hit the pros. But now they can get a little piece of that pie that these billionaires been getting. So I love the NIL. But as he stated, those soft skills, those little things that those are the things that are allowing some of these teenagers to say, you know what, I'm tired of this. We know the numbers are going up and their emotional intelligence is not being met at school or at home. And they're looking on social media and listening to rappers talking about kill yourself. Mm-hmm. So shout out to all the coaches again. If you don't have the personal skills in your program, do it. If you need one of us to come to your program and speak to your kids, we will definitely do that because it's needed right now.
Man, I was
no doubt about it, man. And I will go so far as to add, we can help you incorporate some of these things into your program. So, look, one of the things that Ernest noticed right away when he come to my office, and anybody would, is we put our stuff on the wall, and the reason we do that, and we're opposite of a lot of people, because you know where we're from, people worried about you stealing their stuff, worried about you stealing their people. Look, we put our stuff on the wall. It works. Please take it and use it to help people. Please take it. The first thing we do is tell you to take pictures, right? So once you got pictures, we'll explain this stuff to you. But you know, anybody that's out there watching, you hadn't had the opportunity. If you want to come down, yes, we'll give you the tour. We'll let's take the pictures and all that good stuff. But we'll also come to you and we'll help you out and help you show you how to incorporate some of these things into an existing program, or if you want to rebuild the program. And I'll keep talking just a little bit just to give Coach Ernest, Coach E some love here, because you know, when I got the opportunity to kind of review and absorb what you all created, it really changed my mind state, and it helped me out tremendously. We decided to build a program together, and really what we created was a system for building programs based on a gap analysis. So if you got a gap analysis done and you understand what your programs are, what your problems are, and you want to be able to solve them in X fashion, we have a system. We could just push that through and spit out the appropriate program to help you do that. And that was all thanks to, you know, just sitting with Coach E and going through the program structure that he had versus what we were already doing, and really trying to be creative with that, bring new things into the box. And man, we created something I think is very, very special.
Yes,
that's amazing,
man.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool, man. And yeah,
I tell you, I've been working on some things, Dimitri.
Hey, listen, I never had any doubt, and like I said, it's always good to hear that, you know, things are being created that I'm a part of, even secondhand. You know, I'm just honored to be a part of just that network that's creating a positive impact. Because once we clock out, man, the only thing that we have left on this earth is what we've done to help others and the impact that we've made to benefit society as a whole. So yeah, man, that's really dope, brother. Really dope, man.
Yeah, hey, and bro, I'm gonna correct you. You ain't second fiddle. You a screen away. So every time we have these programs, we gonna have your face on that screen, and they're gonna be talking to Dimitri just like they talk to us.
Let's go.
I don't want you to feel no kind of way, because about every third sentence that Coach E says is, well, I gotta talk to Dimitri about that, or I gotta ask Dimitri. He hamstrung when you're not there.
It's all good. Hey, that's my big bro, man. Love him, bro. Love him, man. So, so I was gonna make this point too, man. When you were talking, my mind just kind of makes these weird connections. But I'm in cryptocurrency, man, and what you said about people coming into your place of business and taking pictures, man. In cryptocurrency, one thing that sets that technology apart and makes that a groundbreaking innovation is that it's open source. And that's essentially what you are, what you said that your business is. You are very transparent. It's truth. You know what I'm saying? That's truth is in plain sight. Like everything is out in the open. So that information is open source, and it's powerful that you're making it transparent, because people can take it and innovate on top of that. Just like in cryptocurrency, people can copy and paste it, some code, and add their own spin to it and make it better. So it's like, you're doing the same thing with your business. People can take what you created, that baseline framework, and then they can take it and put their own intelligence and knowledge on top of that to take your concept even further. So I'm just seeing the comparison between why cryptocurrency is so revolutionary, because it's transparent, and I see what you're doing and what you're creating is going to be very groundbreaking and revolutionary long term as well, because you're being transparent and letting people take advantage of what you've already created. So salute to you, my brother, and that's very admirable of you, because not a lot of people do that. You know what I'm saying?
Again, I'm gonna salute you right back with that insight. Because so one of the main reasons that truth exists is because for many years I resisted starting truth, because what my thought process was, well, a lot of the places, a lot of the nonprofits in East St. Louis are doing a good job. And if you're doing an 85% job, maybe I could come over there and add my energy, my talents, my effort, and kind of get us over the hump. And I didn't find that to be the solution. And in real life, I shot to great mentors. So what changed my perspective on this was I got an opportunity to work with a very, very phenomenal and dynamic mentor, First Lady Wabetta Granger. And in my opinion, the work that she was doing at the time at Community Lifeline was, and the reputation on the street was, this was the most impactful work being done in East St. Louis, social service network. And I got the opportunity to work directly with her, and her attitude was not that of a gatekeeper, or and her attitude was that of a student a lot, even as she was mentoring. And one of the smartest business people I ever met told me, she spent a ton of money on business coaching. And I said, wow. So then she set up an opportunity for entrepreneurship, class. And Dr. Coach Norman Hunter was a business coach. She put together an entrepreneurship class that was really just kind of people from the church and people from the nonprofit. And not to all of my classmates from that class, all of us are business owners today. We do business with each other today.
Nice.
Recently did my taxes with Bethesda Chambers Tax Services, and that's just how we operate. Our CFO, nice. Rachel Blockton, Be Balanced, bookkeeping, right? All from that same class. So it was a wonderful thing that happened. But yeah, again, it took really kind of good mentors, for me to kind of change my attitude on that. And I went ahead and started Truth because, there was so much gatekeeping and information keeping. And what I started to understand were there were talented people being kind of not allowed to compete, because of the gatekeeping and such. So one of my main priorities, when I first started Truth was, okay, I'm going to learn all of this stuff. I'm going to learn this better than any grant writer that's out here, than any, program designer or, instructional designer that's out here. I'm going to learn this stuff better than them, and I'm going to give it to people so that now we can capitalize off everybody's talent, right? Because there's talent that's getting blocked out of here, because of the gatekeeper. So let me just eliminate the gatekeeper. At that time, there were people who were writing grants for nonprofits in East St. Louis and copy and pasting, and giving it to the next person, but they want $5,000 to $10,000 for something that you copied and pasted and sent to the next person and got another $5,000 to $10,000. Yeah, no thanks, not on my watch. So yeah, come over here. It's on the wall. Take this picture. Now I explain to you this process, and you can go do it yourself, right? Yeah, but anyway, I'll get on this forever about that too.
Hey, when you connected that crypto to what he's doing, I never even, but it's perfect. I love
this. It's very serious, man.
I've been telling you about this dude, Brain. Why you think I run everything by him?
I man is smart. Man. Appreciate it.
For real.
But it was very much an information sharing campaign. It's very much that.
That's what's up.
Hey, and shout out to the mentors out there and everybody that's thinking about getting a mentor. Do your homework, do your research, make sure they are who they say they are, and get you a mentor. Even if it costs you a couple dollars, whatever the return, the ROI is gonna pay back in compounded interest. You all like, and man, you saying so much. I want to talk about a million things right now, but I this is your show. We want to definitely highlight you, bro. But I love the way you talked about the 2 + 2 = 1,000, because when we combine our energies and just, oh man, it becomes such a force that no one can say no. Absolutely. Even the walls that are there, the doors that are closed, we blowing them off the hinges. And it doesn't take a million people. If you got, he said, if you got two or more.
Now look, we'll start preaching on Sunday now.
Right, he said 2 or more. Hey, so I agree with everything that
Absolutely.
you just said. But no, my man is solid, you all, and I know we're getting close to the hour, but we could talk on, and we're gonna definitely have you back out here as you have new projects that kick off.
I mean, I
definitely want to, give you some of that visibility, because we know you're not the online guy. We definitely are online because that's where the kids are. Mm-hmm. So we have to be online to catch some of these youngsters, and because they look you up and they look for social proof. And they want to know, are you who you say you are? Because it's a lot of fake AI generated people out here. Yeah. Or if they don't take these filters off some of these folks, I don't recognize them when I see them, man. Like it's so watered down. I'm like, is that really? That's what? No, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. I'm getting off topic, but shout out to, and you mentioned, I want to call this out. Shout out to the Grangers, Pastor Grangers, the ones that are doing great work out there with the Community Lifeline.
Yep.
Did I say that right? Yeah, yes, Community Lifeline. This is where I go every Wednesday to the manhood group, where we're talking about, and it's a group of about 40 to 50 men, and it's some young teenagers in there, and we're talking about what it means to be a man and what manhood is all about. And we touched on trauma with the mother. They got a great program, bro, and I'm locked in with what they're doing, and they have a new one coming out in January, and we're going to talk about that on the WTF as it progresses, as we get more information about it, because it's unbelievable, and it's just a matter of humbling yourself and sitting down and listening. But as I tell everybody, if you reword the listen, it spells silent. That means you need to shed what I call the up and let somebody mentor you. So shout out to the mentors and the coaches that are bringing it. I don't care if you just touch one. Imagine what it would feel like to know someone's on the verge of killing someone, themselves, or just doing harm. And just from your words, from your program, from you being a walking mentor and coach to everybody you come in contact with, you could have changed that person's life and changed the trajectory of the neighborhood and all type of things. So sometimes you just got to be available, but then there's other times where you need to be quiet.
For sure.
So, all right, I'm rambling, man. Dimitri, and we always ask about the formula.
Yeah.
So we know True Synergies is amazing. I know the program is so dope, and I'm loving the partnership that we're creating with Truth and with the WTF and a lot of others. Shout out to my guy Chris in Washington Park. First book.
Chris
I gotta call this out, Chris Hodges, because my man gave me his book, which is going to be a blockbuster. And he said, bro, I trust you to publish my book. I want to put your logo, put your stamp on it. I'll do whatever. And so other than my books, he's the very first book outside of my book that's published. He has his ISBN. He's official. And they're already, Paramount is contacting this brother about this book.
Let's go.
To record it. They need, so this is major. That's why I know I'm off. But he met me again with me and Trayvon just chopping it up at Good Samaritan. Shout out to the people at Good Samaritan. And he just walked up to us, man, and we've been locked in ever since. So great things are happening in the East Side. Washington Park, Cahokia Heights, Centerville, Collinsville, Belleville, St. Clair County, Southern Illinois, all y'all out there, you know we repping y'all. Share this out with all your people, but we got the last question, Dimitri. Go on, bring us home, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was beautiful, my brother. Beautiful, man. So, Trayvon, yeah. So one thing that I would say is mentorship. Since we were just talking about that, mentorship, in my opinion, positively affected my success, what I consider to be success for myself. And I can't speak for E, but I mean, that's the only reason why we're having this podcast right here, because we joined the same mentorship group and we just clicked ever since. So that really helped me on my road to success. So what is your formula for success? What do you attribute to your success? And whatever definition you have for success, that's you. It don't have to be money. It don't have to be status. It can be whatever. It can be peace, whatever it is. What do you contribute to that success in your life?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I appreciate the question. I would say it's a lot to it, but I think I could make it, as simple as possible. I would say three big things. First, keep God first. I was very, very blessed to come from praying folk and to be exposed to the Word and to have a intimate relationship with Christ from a very, very young age. And my grandmother used to drag me to Bible study on Friday nights with her when I was 9, 10, 11 years old. But this wasn't regular Bible study. This was like the all-star team of the mothers of the church from across the city, right, would come to one place, and it would be me and a bunch of 70-year-old ladies reading Joyce Meyer's books, right? So like without that base, man, I wouldn't be here today. So I've known how to pray and have an intimate relationship with Christ since I was a very, very young person. So I would say that's first. And then second is work ethic. Very, very blessed to come from folk with epic, legendary work ethic. And I got to watch my father be that person. I got to watch my grandfather be that person. I got to watch my grandparents be those people. And essentially everybody in my neighborhood, my mentors growing up, I just lost one of my heroes growing up, Mr. Cecil Griffin, legendary carpenter across East St. Louis. But you could set your watch to Mr. Griffin coming down the street and stopping at the stop sign at 6:01, right? Every morning, I saw his truck and he was on the move. And when I was a kid watching that, Mr. Griffin was in his late 70s, right? So he was doing that 6 months ago. Okay, so that part, I was really exposed to people with really extreme work ethics. So having that extreme work ethic was something that was very common to me, and that's taken me pretty far. And then the third thing is creativity. I think if you're doing those first two things pretty well, you're going to find yourself in not bad spaces, but spaces with room for improvement. And if you come into those, if you come into spaces with the thought, with the idea of let me understand and master what's all here, and then how can I pull from further experiences and different situations to make this situation bigger than it is. And I think if you always have that kind of perspective, you can essentially always find the answer to that. And I think, again, I think God blesses and has favor towards particular attitudes. The first thing the Bible told you that God did was create. So why would he not love you being a creator? So
and that's what he told us to do. The first thing, go out there and multiply and do this and do. Hey, we are natural creators. I love that term, man. Creativity.
So just really those three things, man. God first, work ethic, and be creative.
I love that, man. Beautiful way to end the show. Hey, you want to make one last comment before I close it out, brother? I
want to make one last 30 comments. Hey, but no, once again, we appreciate you giving us this time, man, and blessing all of our viewers and the people that are going to rewatch this, watch the live, see some of the clips of all the gems that you dropped, man. again, I always have to make it personal because I like being personal and I like taking things personal. And people always say, I do take it personal because when I have personal relationships, I want it to be personal. This ain't just business, man. Like when I say my man, I mean, this is a lifetime friend going forward right now. And like, I couldn't imagine, I don't care if I'm in another country, I'm gonna have access to my guy. We're gonna do great work here in East St. And then we're going abroad. Me and my guy have taken trips already, and those trips are just gonna increase because we have that same passion and purpose to impact the lives of everybody that we come in contact with. And we believe in putting God first, putting in that work, and being creative with the work that you do, because just hammering the same nail ain't gonna do it. That's been done. That's old. Everybody know how to beat a nail into a board. But when you know how to carve some things, and I'm talking about the minds of y'all's, like that thing up here needs some carving. You need to get rid of some things and create a beautiful picture within the person that you are. So again, shout out to all the coaches, all the mentors out there. Shout out to my guy Trayvon, to his lovely wife, to his children. Like, man, like the man is phenomenal. He's definitely a superstar that doesn't want any of the limelight. You know me, I like a little limelight. I think I'm a little pretty, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to figure out how this man is 42 years old with this black beard and his hairline. Dimitri, that's what we need to be asking. Like, hold up, bro. You 42. I
would never grade. I got a couple grades. There's a couple grades in there.
I love it, man.
Hey, that's blessing, bro. God is definitely blessing you. And we pray that everything that you touch turns to gold as it has been, man, because people like you need to be highlighted more and more and more, because we always talk about these dum-dums, and we talk about, the presidential debate with these old ass dudes. Man, I didn't watch it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I want to hear about brothers like you, brothers like Dimitri, brothers like, the people we've had on this podcast before, because you all are really bringing about some change, and you're not sitting over there needing a walker trying to hold some space. Retire. Some of y'all too old. Y'all out there that's 70, 80 years old, stop doing that. Reach out to us. We'll help you create something to generate that finance. Get out the way. You did enough.
Hey, coach, start coaching.
Right. We need you. Right. We need that wisdom. So again, shout out to my guy.
I'm just saying.
CEO of Truth Synergies, man. You're doing amazing work, and y'all gonna hear a lot more from my guy. I promise you that. Even if he ain't online, I am, and we joined at the hip. So you're gonna see him when you see me, and you see Dimitri, and you see the WTF out here doing this crazy work. So again, we thank you, brother.
I appreciate y'all brothers, man. Absolutely. It's been a good time for me. I'll come back anytime y'all willing to have me. I really, really appreciate the opportunity. Y'all honor me, and it's y'all make it hard to be humble, man, but I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, no doubt, my brother. Thank you for your time. I know we went a little long, man, but the conversation was needed for the people, man. So hopefully you don't mind going over a few minutes. But thank you for all your knowledge and your insight. Like I said, once again, your time, and everybody at home, wherever you're listening to the podcast, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in for another outstanding episode. If you enjoyed it, share it. If you don't enjoy it, let us know in the comments what you don't like about it. But either way, let us know something. All right. So until next time, always remember, WTF not only means what's the formula, but it also stands for our mantra, and that is winning takes focus. All right. So until next podcast, everybody, stay focused and keep winning. Peace.
Bless y'all.